It's a day that marks the victory of good over evil. We are taking you to Lucknow, to the Aishbagh Ramleela Maidan. For over 500 years at this Maidan, Ramleela has been organized year after year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is watching the Ramleela at these grounds. In a while from now, we are told Ravan Dahan will take place. That is Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram destroying evil, killing Ravan. And while that's marked year after year, the Prime Minister focused on the many evils that we need to destroy even today. He started with state-sponsored terror and the need to take on countries that harbor terrorism, that harbor terrorists, that support terrorists, and said, we will not spare them. The world needs to unite against terror, but that wasn't all. He said we need to fight terror within. He spoke of dynasty politics, he spoke of communalism, caste system, and focused a lot on the girl child. Even in 21st century India, we have people who kill their daughters in the mother's womb. That needs to stop. The Prime Minister focused on the girl child. And I have India Today's Brijesh Pandey who joins me from Ground Zero. Brijesh, the Prime Minister is watching the Ramleela. Of course, it is about to reach the climax. Ravan is to be killed soon. Ravan and of course the others who embody evil, Meghnad, his son, Kumbhkaran, his brother.
Well, Gaurav, right now the Prime Minister is watching the last episode of Rama, and you know, if I may ask my camera person to zoom in a bit, you can see the Prime Minister along with Governor Ram Naik, Home Minister Rajnath Singh, and BJP Chief Keshav Prasad Maurya watching the last episode of Ramayana, where Lord Ram is about to kill Ravan. But the Prime Minister, after this inaction of killing of Ravan, the Prime Minister will leave the venue and he will leave for Delhi. And after the Prime Minister has left the venue, the burning of effigy of Ravan will take place, because you know the distance between the effigy where the Ravan's effigy is and the Prime Minister sitting is very less, and for security reasons, the Prime Minister will not be present when the effigy of Ravan will be burnt. But the Prime Minister will remain in this Aishbagh Ramleela Maidan, where till Ravan is killed by Lord Ram, and he will leave this premise only after that. So the final scenes of before the death of Ravan is being enacted, and the Prime Minister along with Governor as well as Home Minister is watching this Ramleela for the last 30 minutes. Very intense. Gaurav?
We will come to you for that final moment when Ravan is killed by Lord Ram, but it's the evil within that needs to be killed. Sanjay Jha, your take on what the Prime Minister said. And before the Prime Minister, Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh saying India is not a weak country anymore. The world got proof of India's powers now. The world is looking at India with new respect.
प्रधानमंत्री जी को भेंट करें और तीर चला करके वह सांकेतिक
Gaurav, I think Mr. Rajnath Singh's knowledge of India's political history is rather weak. India has decisively defeated Pakistan in 4 wars. Therefore, to make statements of the kind that Mr. Rajnath Singh made, that India is not weak anymore, what kind of a message is he sending out? I mean, there was excellent and very high caliber political leadership in the past. The Indian Army has always been steadfast in its valiant attitude in terms of its success to defend the country's territorial boundaries. You also know, thanks to Operation Ginger, that even the surgical strikes have not happened for the first time. They have happened many times before. Okay. Therefore, to suddenly, and I was reading these newspaper reports of this public admission by the RSS that they will be campaigning on the muscular policy of Mr. Modi in the UP elections. I said, that's deplorable. I think this is a day for all of us to collectively, kind of agree that we have a huge challenge of cross-border terrorism from Pakistan, and not to score political brownie points. Indian political leadership, both in the past and I'm hopeful even in the future, will always be strong when it comes to defending India's territorial integrity and the national security that we deserve to protect our innocent citizens as well as the army. Okay. I don't think the BJP should play any politics at this point of time. That is the one aspect that is unfortunately
let's take it point by point. General GD Bakshi, merit in what Sanjay Jha says, that surgical operations have been carried out in the past. This muscular posturing at this point is not correct, especially for politics.
भगवान की आरती हुई.
Well, from the military aspect, I'd like to point out two facets of this operation vis-a-vis previous operations. The previous operations, including Operation Ginger, were local operations, small-scale operations, launched by the local formation battalion to take tactical revenge. They were not publicized because of the fear of escalation, inadvertent escalation. What is different now is, here is a New Delhi-driven operation planned by the DGMO at the highest level in the Indian Army, the three services chief involved, your NTRO involved, your UAVs deployed, your drones deployed, area kept under surveillance for 7 days. Then you attack across 250 kilometers frontage on 8 targets. You infiltrate and exfiltrate successfully, and about 70 to 80 casualties have been inflicted. So it is a major operation. The most significant thing that we see is, this is an operation that has been announced.
Yes.
Look, for very long time we were being given this bluff and bluster by Pakistan that you dare strike across the LC and you will have a nuclear, war on your hand. New Delhi will go up on nuclear smoke. That bluff has been called because we have deliberately announced, yes, we have done it.
Okay.
We have crossed the border, we have hit across the border. The deliberate aim was to call Pakistan's bluff. We were told China will be knocking at our gates. China quite obviously doesn't want the tail to wag the dog. They are quite busy with the South China Sea. They
Yes.
don't want Pakistan to drive them into a conflict. So on these fears, on these counts, the fears of our peaceniks have proved to be absolutely exaggerated, illusory, and it was necessary to call this bluff.
Okay,
The
Rajiv
clear
Rai, so a
message is,
big-
look, you do it again, we'll cross the border again.
Oh, and that's a big point that you're making, that in case Pakistan violates ceasefire again, in case Pakistan sponsored terror troubles India again, Pakistan will be punished again. Rajiv Rai, is this a big point that has been different from the past? Because even Mulayam Singh Yadav has said that he suggested to the Prime Minister that surgical strikes need to be carried out. So the Samajwadi Party is hitting out at the Prime Minister and defending the surgical strikes at the same time, saying it's their suggestion.
No, we are not hitting at the Prime Minister, and for our party in Samajwadi's, nation is supreme, not the political score, and we do not talk when it comes to the national security, national honor, to earn brownie points in politics. I am in total agreement with the Major General, and of course to some extent with our Congress friends. I strongly object the language spoken by our Home Minister, and who is trying to say that until now India was weak or army were weak. When if India was ever weak, it was the BJP who were in the power and Kargil happened. I mean, Kargil happened and they tried to politicize that issue. What I suggest and request to all the political party, leave army aside, let us unite together, support our army.
Okay.
Our armed forces are capable enough to give the befitting reply to our enemies.
Okay.
And there is no politics involved here as far as Samajwadis are concerned.
Okay, and we're looking at these images from Lucknow. The artists who play Maryada Purushottam, Sri Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, the other characters. Of course, you also have Nishad Raj in some of these images. You have others. They are all coming to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Prime Minister, of course, after spending some time with these artists, you also see Devi Sita in those images and Hanuman.
Jai Shri Ram.
Now flanked by the Union Home Minister, Rajnath Singh and the SPG, the Prime Minister, as is traditional, he comes out and greets the audience. He is waving to the audience. He will now leave in a short while from now, as my colleague Brijesh Pandey was pointing out. And it's only then that the artist playing the character of Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram will destroy the effigy of Meghnad, Kumbhkaran and Ravan. So that final scene, Brijesh, is now over, and now the effigies of Ravan, Kumbhkaran and Meghnad will be burnt.
Well, absolutely. I think, Gaurav, it will be done once Prime Minister leaves the venue. The Prime Minister has already left it and he will be about to board his car and on his way to Amausi Airport, from where he will go to Delhi. Once the Prime Minister leaves this premises, his cavalcade, his security leaves this premises. After that, the effigy of all Kumbhkaran, Meghnad and Ravan will be burnt. This was not done in presence of Prime Minister because the difference distance between where the effigies were and where the Prime Minister was standing, it was barely 70 to 80 meters, and it's Ashbagh Ramlila Maidan is a very small ground, and barely 4,000-5,000 people could come today because of the high security which was there because of the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And I think in another 4 to 5 minutes from now we will see, or we will witness the burning of the effigy of Meghnad, Kumbhkaran as well as Ravan. Gaurav?
Okay, a quick break. We will come back to those images of burning of the effigies of Ravan, Meghnad and Kumbhkaran on the other side of a short break. Stay with us.